in the beginning, I felt like when I couldn't solve the answer and I wanted to look at other people's codes, I felt like it was cheating.
Let's say you're trying to do a learning session or you're trying to practice something. How does a code review work for you? Do you just read through it, or what are some of the steps you take to get the most out of someone else's code?
So I still haven't figured out the best way to do that, to be honest, because like I said, in the beginning, I felt like when I couldn't solve the answer and I wanted to look at other people's codes, I felt like it was cheating, because that's how I was in math. In math, there's like one way to do it, or I guess there's a lot of steps of logical ways so you can get the answer. And whoever you give it to in the math department is probably going to give you the same logical steps and same way to do it. But in coding, every single answer is very different. So when I first started doing that, I saw that everyone's answer was different. And I'm like, there's no way I could have ended up with that. And that's when I felt like, okay, maybe that's considered cheating. I don't know. But after a while, I realized that no, it's not. Like I just started going into like, I don't understand this. I saw someone do explain how to do it. I go through their code, understand how they got to that code. And then in my mind, that wouldn't be considered like cheating, because I understand their thought process, understand how they got there, and understand how I would get there in the future. And then the next project I would do, I'll try to implement how they did it without looking at their code. And if I couldn't, that's when I would go back to check, okay, what did I miss here, step here. One big way I started looking at other people's code is Code Wars. It's a website you can just do for pretty much like simple practice problems. That was like the point where I saw the benefit of reading other people's code. I would be stuck on a problem. I'm like, there's no way I can solve this. I would look at a solution. It would be like 2 lines of code. I'm like, there's no way I can think of this. And then as I kept progressing, I'm like, okay, these functions keep repeating itself. Now I know what this function does. I can link it with a part from someone from a code I saw in the past. I can link them together, like pipe them, I guess you could say, and end up with a nice final result.
Awesome. Very cool. I think that's a really important part of learning is the review. And a lot of people, they don't know what they don't know, right? So you were talking about in math, you can logic your way to a lot of things because it follows like written laws per se.
Right.
But in data science, if you've never used a function before, never heard of it, how are you going to implement it, right? So yeah. I think that's a very powerful thing, is that, hey, in order to be able to answer some of these questions, you just have to like explore what's out there, period. You don't have to memorize stuff. You just have to, pick up more stuff and pick up more tools for your toolkit. So
yeah, memorization. To go off your point of memorization, at the beginning, I was like writing every single code that I would like see in the course. So like it'd be, this is how you clean. I have like a full folder of like just code snippets. This is how you clean a name. This is how you take out the first letter. So every single thing I used to have like a code for it to memorize it, I guess you can say. But then as I kept progressing, I'm like, there's no way I can memorize that, because I ended up like 1,500 lines of code at some point. And I'm like, at this point, there's no way I just have to like start seeing the patterns. And that a good part of like a really good example of like reading other people's code is when I did my skills test for the interview, but we can talk about that as we go into the job.